Imagine booking a hotel room where the room right next to yours doesn't officially exist. No guests, no keys, no service records. But every single night, you hear someone inside. This is the chilling, unsolved case of room 309. A room that's not supposed to be there, but refuses to stay silent. It all started back in 2018, when a travel blogger named Evan Harris checked into a historic hotel in Colorado. His room number was 308. As he walked down the long, dimly lit hallway, he noticed something strange. He saw the door for room 308, and then the door for room 310. But right between them was a door with no number at all. Just a faded brass knob and paint peeling like old, dry skin. Later that day, Evan went down to the front desk and casually mentioned it to the receptionist. "Hey," he said, "what's the deal with the unmarked door next to my room?" The receptionist's friendly smile vanished. She looked around, then leaned in and said softly, "Sir, there is no door next to 308. Evan laughed it off, thinking it was a joke. "No, seriously, I saw it." Her voice suddenly became firm, almost cold. "There is no door there. Please, do not try to open anything in that hallway." That was the first major red flag. That night, at exactly 2:57 a.m., Evan was jolted awake. A soft, rhythmic thump was coming from the wall right behind his bed. The same wall that connected to the mysterious, unmarked door. Thump. Thump. It wasn't an aggressive knock, not like someone trying to get in. It was more like someone was gently reminding him that they were there. Creeped out, but also curious, he grabbed his phone and started recording. The knocks continued for exactly 43 seconds, and then abruptly stopped, as if the person on the other side had simply vanished. The next day, Evan decided to listen back to the recording. The audio was crystal clear, until the 17-second mark. After that, the distinct knocking sound transformed into a low, vibrating hum, like a distorted voice buried under heavy static. This is where it gets truly terrifying. Months later, an audio engineer analyzed the file for a podcast. When he slowed down that strange, humming section of the recording, he heard what sounded like words, a faint, drawn-out whisper saying, "Don't open the door." But Evan had never played the recording in slow motion. The next morning, the housekeeper, a woman named Maria, saw Evan standing near the unmarked door, and she froze. Her face went pale. She grabbed his arm and whispered, "Please, sir, keep away from that room. People who get too close, they hear things. They see things. Some people, they change." Maria's voice trembled as she explained the hotel as a dark secret. Years ago, that room did exist. It was room 309. But after a guest vanished without a trace inside, the hotel management sealed it off forever. They erased it from all the floor plans, removed its number, and locked it permanently. But the door itself, they could never get rid of it. Every time they sent workers to remove the door and wall it up, something strange would happen. The workers would quit on the spot, terrified. One man ran out, screaming that something inside the wall, on the other side of the door, was whispering his name. That night, Evan's curiosity got the better of him. He couldn't just let it go. He decided to find out for himself what was happening. He took his phone, propped it up on a chair in the hallway, and aimed the camera directly at the unmarked door. He started recording and went back to his room, leaving the phone to capture whatever might happen. He checked the footage the next morning, fast-forwarding through hours of an empty, silent hallway. Then, his heart stopped. At exactly 3:13 a.m., the recording caught something that made his blood run cold. The doorknob on the unmarked door twitched. Then, ever so slowly, it began to turn, about halfway, as if someone or something the other side was trying to quietly sneak out. But the door itself never opened. It just stayed shut, with the knob turned. And that's when the most disturbing part happened. The video glitched. For just 1 second, the screen filled with static. When the picture returned, the timestamp had jumped. It went from 3 hours 13 minutes and 14 seconds directly to 3 hours 13 minutes and 21 seconds. 7 seconds were just gone, deleted from the recording. It was as if something had emerged from that room, something the camera itself refused to show. What happened in those missing 7 seconds? What was so horrifying that the digital file erased it from existence? Evan didn't know, but he knew he had to get out of that hotel. He packed his bags and left immediately, never looking back. To this day, the footage remains unexplained, a chilling reminder of the door to room 309 and the 7 seconds that were stolen from time. Evan marched back to the front desk, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't bother with words this time. He just held out his phone and played the video. The manager's face drained of all color, turning a sickly pale white. He leaned in, his voice barely a whisper. "Sir, we don't have any cameras on that floor. None. We had them all removed years ago because they kept malfunctioning." Evan shook his head, frustrated. "No, you don't understand. I'm talking about my camera. The one I set up." The manager swallowed hard, his eyes wide with a fear that seemed to crawl out from a deep, dark place. He whispered, "That door, whatever is behind it. It doesn't like being seen." He paused, then added something that sent a shiver straight down Evan's spine. Room 309 was sealed because of a guest who disappeared without a trace. But here's the thing. The room was sealed from the outside. We never found out if something had left that room, or if something was still trapped inside. The third night was a storm of conflicting emotions for Evan. Fear warred with an insatiable curiosity. He knew he was breaking the rule, the one unspoken agreement to stay away. But he couldn't help himself. At exactly 3 a.m., the air thick and heavy, he crept back to the unmarked door at the end of the hall. He pressed his ear against the cold, smooth wood. Absolute silence. He held his breath, listening for any sign of life. And then it came. A whisper, dry and raspy, slithering through the crack from the other side. It spoke his name. Evan. He recoiled as if he'd been burned. Stumbling back, his eyes were locked on the doorknob. It started to turn, not slowly and deliberately like before, but faster, more aggressive, filled with a frantic energy. He fumbled for his flashlight, his hands trembling, and aimed the beam at the gap beneath the door. An Esa Italiano movement. A shadow, dark and indistinct, shifting back and forth, pacing just inches away from him, waiting. He didn't hesitate. He spun around and ran, his footsteps echoing in the empty hall. He slammed his room door shut, turning every lock he could find, and sat there, wide awake, praying for the sun to rise. The next morning, Evan decided he'd had enough. He packed his bags, ready to check out and leave the strange hotel behind for good. But as he stepped into the hallway and headed for the elevator, a cold feeling washed over him. Something was wrong. The carpet under his feet looked older, more worn. The walls were faded, the paint peeling in places he hadn't noticed before. The lights above him flickered erratically, casting long, dancing shadows down the corridor. He walked past the spot where the unmarked door had been, but his heart stopped. The number 309 was back on it, the brass figures gleaming faintly in the dim light. It was as if the entire hotel had aged overnight, or maybe he had slipped into a different time altogether. He broke into a run, his luggage bouncing behind him as he raced to the lobby. But the lobby he burst into was not the one he remembered. The modern furniture was gone, replaced by antique-style chairs and tables. The colors were different. The staff behind the desk wore old-fashioned uniforms. He rushed to the front desk, his voice trembling. "I'm in room 308. I need to check out now." The receptionist, a woman with a severe haircut, just frowned at him. "Sir, I'm sorry, but we do have a room 308. That entire section of the hotel was closed for renovations in 1994. Evan spun around, pointing back the way he came, but it just came from there. But the hallway was gone. In its place was a solid, wallpapered wall. When the police arrived, they found Evan's luggage neatly packed in his original room, but there was no sign of him. His phone was on the nightstand, and they checked his recordings from 3:13 a.m., hoping for a clue. The files were still there, but the videos had changed. Each one now showed the same thing. A static shot of a blank hallway, with the door to room 309 clearly visible. A room that, according to the hotel's records, had been sealed for decades. Evan Harris was never seen again. Some people believe he made a fatal mistake and finally opened the door to room 309. But others have a more chilling theory. They think the room didn't just pull him in. It pulled him back. Back to the year it was sealed. Back to the time of the first disappearance. The door never opened for him because it was waiting for the perfect moment when he was alone on the other side. So, what do you think happened to Evan? Did he accidentally slip into another timeline? Or did room 309 finally claim another guest? Let me know your theory in the comments below. Thanks for watching.